You ever do roasts?
I was the last roast that I did was the roast of uh, Drew Carey, and it was in New York. And I was sitting next to Joey Adams, and he walked back and fell through this hole onto the ground, and he died 6 weeks later.
Wow.
It was so horrible, and we were all. I was next. It was Joey Adams on one side, and then Dom Herrera on the other side,
Wow.
and we were all subpoenaed to go to the trial because I think Cindy Adams was suing the Friars Club for negligence, and for whatever reason we didn't have to go. But I think because they looked at the footage and they saw that we weren't turned around at the time that he fell through, so we weren't adequate for as witnesses. But yeah, that was really the one thing that really stuck in my mind. But I'd gone to a number of roasts, and also we used to go to the Friars Club here when it was in Beverly
Right,
Hills,
sure.
and they would have sort of roast events just on a weeknight, and you would go and don't park in Milton Berle's parking space, whatever you do. He had a really good parking space right in the front of the garage. And he would come, Milton Berle would come out, and everybody would be out and hanging out, and Tom Dreesen and
Sure.
all those old comics, Kip Addotta,
Sure.
all those people,
Wow.
that I remember as in my mind, it's so long ago, because my entrance into show business was at the very end of old Hollywood. So you would see people I mean, you would just see Jane Meadows every day.
Wow. Unbelievable. It's so great you know all these people.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, or seen them. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was interested in it because I was I'm sort of in Hollywood where all this stuff is happening, and then some of those older people were still around. I was on one of the first TV shows that I did was Bob Hope's Young Comedian Special, so I was on that with Caroline. Caroline was on, and we both wore Betsy Johnson little fake Jackie Kennedy suits from the 90s or 80s. But yeah, so I remember this old era of Hollywood very well.
I
Nice.
never told you this. I was in the Friars Club in New York. I got sworn in, or whatever you call it, by Freddie Roman, and I was so broke as a young comic in New York at the time. The only thing I could afford to do was to eat at the Friars Club, because you could sign it onto your bill. So I couldn't afford a $2 slice of pizza, but I would go for an $80 meal at the Friars Club. And I ran up such a big bill at the Friars Club that I got banned from the Friars Club until I was able to pay it off. And I finally paid it all off, and I got back in, and then they closed down. But my friend would be like, "How is it that I would bring my friends too?" I'd say, "Yeah, he'd say, you want to go to the diner or something?" I say, "I can't afford the diner, but we could go to the Friars Club."
They bring them along.
What
What are you
was it
eating
like?
here?
How did they stay open? I mean, the Friars Club would just was it sort of like the Soho place, Soho
I may
House
have single-handedly
now?
put him out of business, I think.
I mean, I don't remember. I know I was a member, but I never actually went to use it as a club. What were the aspects of the club where it had sort of social areas?
There was a
and-
fitness room that I used.
Okay.
There was a sauna.
Okay.
I mean, I made it my home because I was broke, and it was much nicer than my house, so I'd be there all the time.
Yeah, that's so
That-
cool.
That's how
There's
I
a
became
card
friends
game.
with Gilbert.
George Burns
Yeah.
and all these guys would be playing cards there all the time in
Yeah.
the afternoons.
I got to
That's
go
great.
they did a Jerry Lewis roast once, and I got to sit at the table because Pat Cooper was always very nice to me. He said, come, sit with the big guys. So I sat with him, some of the members of the Sopranos, Gilbert, Norm Crosby, Robert Klein.
Hmm.
Wow.
It was the cool, and Pat Cooper, and all around this table was one of the great tables I'd ever been at.